Hello, I am contestant 3040 and we're going to be making 3 pastries today. We're going to start off with our challah bread, and we're going to continue with our coffee cake and our sugar cakes. So for the challah bread, we're going to be measuring out 1 pound and 2 ounces of bread flour. 1 pound and 2 ounces. We're going to be measuring 0.25 ounces of yeast. Our 0.30 ounces of salt. We're also going to measure 2 ounces of sugar. I also have my water pre-measured. It's 8 ounces. And then we're going to measure 2 ounces of vegetable. Same little bowl. We're going to take 4 egg yolks. We're going to add these 4 egg yolks in the mixer. We're going to be mixing it at speed 2 for 4 minutes, and then we're going to speed it up to 3 for 5. Now that the 4 minutes are done, we're going to speed it up to 3 for 5 minutes. Now that we had it at speed 3 for 5 minutes, we're going to turn it off. I already got my bowl pre-sprayed so that I could proof it for then and let it rise for 25 minutes. And then with my hands and the bench scraper, I'm going to scoop out the dough. Then we're going to cover it. Now that the dough has rested for 25 minutes, we're going to portion it out into 4 equal dough balls. We're going to roll each strand for around 12 inches. Now that I rolled each little dough ball into 12-inch strips, we're going to braid them. I'm now going to braid my second loaf. Now that I finished braiding my 2 loaves, I'm going to set it aside to let it rest on the prepared parchment paper. Now that my dough is doubled in size, I'm going to brush them with egg wash, and I'm going to put them in a convection oven for 325 for 25 minutes. Now we're going to go place it in the oven. 25 minutes. My bread is done cooking in the oven, and we're going to go take it out. And these are my loaves of bread. Now that we're done with the challah bread, we're going to continue with our sugar cookies. So I already have my ingredients pre-measured out. So I have 2 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I have 1 cup of unsalted softened butter, 1 large egg, 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract, and 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. In a medium-sized bowl, we're going to measure out our flour, baking soda, and baking powder. We're going to whisk them up together. And we're going to set aside for them to cream our butter and sugar. We're going to put it aside. And in our stand mixer, we are going to cream our butter to light and fluffy. Now that it's light and fluffy like this, I'm going to add our vanilla extract and our 1 large egg. Now we'll mix. Now that I'm done creaming the butter with egg and vanilla and sugar, I'm going to add the dry ingredients. Little by little so that it won't get really chunky. Now that the batter has reached the consistency of a dough, I'm going to put it in plastic wrap and refrigerate it so that it could gel. Now that my dough has chilled for 30 minutes, I'm going to scoop them with this scooper. And then I'm going to flatten them down with the cup. I'm going to dip the bottom of the cup in some sugar. And I'm going to squish the dough ball. Now that I finished flattening out my cookies, I'm going to transfer them to the oven that was preheated at 375. And we're going to cook them 8 to 10 minutes. These are my finished sugar cookies. Now that we finished our sugar cookies and our challah bread, we're going to continue with our coffee cake. So we're going to start preparing our strudel topping. And for that, we're going to need 4 tablespoons of butter. We're going to add all of this in a separate bowl. So we're going to put 4 tablespoons of butter. And we're going to chop them in little cubes. We're going to add these cubes in a separate bowl. We are also going to add to this separate bowl half a cup of sugar. Here I got my measuring scoop. I got my sugar over here. Also, we're going to add a half a cup of flour into our bowl. And to finish our strudel topping, we're going to add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Now that everything is inside the bowl, we're going to be using a pastry blender to cut the solid fats into our dry ingredients. I'm also going to be using my hand. Put this right here, and now I'm going to fully incorporate the butter with the dry ingredients. Our strudel topping should look crumbly with little chunks. Now that we're done with the topping strudel, we're going to start with our cake batter. So in a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to whisk all that together. Once it's thoroughly whisked and combined, I'm going to put it in the stand mixer and set it aside. Now for our wet ingredients. For our wet ingredients, I'm going to be adding 1 cup of sour cream, 2 large eggs, oil, half a cup of oil, and 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And I'm going to mix until it's all combined. Now that it's all combined, I'm going to slowly add it to our batter. And we're going to mix until it's all well combined. Now that our batter is mixed, we're going to grease the pan and slightly flour. Something like this. I'm going to be using a blue scoop to evenly scoop half of the batter into the pan. And with the mini spatula, I'm going to now that it's smooth, we're going to add half of our strudel topping. We're going to repeat the process. Rubber spatula. Now with the extra of the strudel topping, we're going to add it on top. I'm going to save a little bit because we are going to marble it with. Now that the cake is marbled, we're going to add the extra of our strudel topping. Now that we have our batter in our pan, we're going to put it in the oven at 350 for 15 to 20 minutes. It's been about 32 minutes, so our cake is ready. We poked it with the skewer for its doneness, and this is the result of our coffee cake.